Auburn's head coaching search, it's been a little weird.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Happy Charlie Tuesday to all who celebrate. We're joined by the Kyle Rush, also known as the Charlie 5. He's an Auburn message board legend, the man over the bar on Auburn.com, and the host of the Top Button podcast. We'll talk about other things that DJ Durkin said yesterday, and an absolute snoozer of a presser, which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing, but it was boring. It's very different from what we're used to, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
The quarterback situation continues to be fascinating. We kind of got some answers, but like Auburn's next head coach, this whole search, it feels so much different than the previous few. And unfortunately, we've been through this a lot over the last, few years, where there's normally some names where I'm just like over the moon about, like, oh my goodness, it would be fun to dream about this guy or to have this guy come and take over the program. And the list of like realistic names, while I think several of them would be an improvement from what we've had, or they represent hope or success at a smaller program, then you give them Auburn's resources. You hope that it's there. But I guess, Kyle, like, I'm just a little bummed that there hasn't been this name that is one at the P4 level that has kind of been tied to Auburn in this. That just doesn't seem to be out there. And it's not out there for Penn State. It's not out there for LSU. And it's not out there for Florida. It's not like an Auburn thing.
It's really weird, isn't it? It seems like every year there's a blockbuster hire. That's like the blockbuster, or there's a no doubter or a no brainer. There's all these names out there, and it just really doesn't feel like there's that guy. It feels like maybe if someone can pick off Lane Kiffin, that would be the one that I think would, like, quote unquote, send shockwaves across college football. There doesn't feel like that's out there. So it's funny when a name pops up associated with Auburn, everybody starts fighting over it and picking a camp. And I'm like, I'm sitting over here like, I mean, I don't really see anybody yet that's I necessarily would be elated about, or I would be devastated about. Like, they're all kind of the same in different ways.
Yeah. Like you get the argument for them. I talked about this a lot on Friday. Like, obviously, plan A is you get a guy who has been able to win consistently at a big P4 college like Auburn, and you bring him over.
And who would that be?
That doesn't seem to be available.
Yeah, right? Who would that be? You had James Franklin would be one.
It's the closest. But I think Auburn and Penn State are kind of close. So it's like, okay, you know what he is. Yeah. Do you want that?
Yeah. And then
I'm fine if you say yes, and I'm fine if you say no. There's arguments for both sides.
Eli Drinkwitz, his name has been associated with a lot of different jobs, Florida, Penn State. Now there's some smoke at Auburn. Like, last 3 years.
Has won at Missouri, but has not won against good teams at Missouri. But once again, like, your plan B then is, okay, if that proven P4 guy that's won isn't going to be there, you need to go get somebody who's that next tier, and you hope that if you give them Auburn resources, you can project out further success. And I do think there's an argument for Drink there, has been here before, won a national championship here as the part of the 2010 staff. And I mean, I've kind of gotten, poked and prodded a little bit when I've hyped up Eli Drinkwitz over the last few weeks, which is, once again, like, there's arguments for and against all of these guys.
All of them. Yeah.
And his record against teams in the SEC that finish with a winning record in conference play, it's awful. I think it's worse than Freeze's, because Freeze beat A&M last year. Like, it's awful. So how important is that? Like, you got to pay attention to it.
Sure. I mean, maybe, but at the end of the day, like, again,
he's doing it in Missouri.
You just mentioned it earlier. He was at Missouri. Like, he constructed a roster that was, a top 25, I think, as far as star rating goes. And, like, to me, that's about what your ceiling is as far as what kind of roster you can put together. And he's won almost 30 games in 3 years. I mean, that's pretty dang good. Brady Cook was pretty good. 2 years ago when they went 11-2, and he got hurt really bad. He got hurt and he was out a lot last year. And then he starts the year off, and the very first play of the game, of the first game of the year, the guy that he had kind of penciled in as his homegrown, recruited out of high school, top 150 quarterback, Sam Horn, breaks his leg on the very first play of the game. So,
yeah, right.
Yeah, they've definitely been through some adversity, but like you said, you're trying to find first of all, you got the no-brainer. Okay. You got the winner, and then you got the guy that basically a bunch of guys that you feel like you said, we give them the money, we give them support, we give them our resources, we give them the football facility, we give them everything, we help them get the staff that they need. We got the off the field deal working like we like it. Can you take that coaching aspect of it and translate it to success? And I think I think roster continuity is very important as a part of this search, is the way it seems. I'm not saying it's necessarily that important for me, because I think everybody can be replaced to an extent, but it feels like Cohen's trying to find the right guy that can win, and not only win, but win now versus build something back and win in 3 years.
Yeah. And I think if you hire a respectable coach and you keep Durkin as DC, like, I think a lot of that'll happen.
Do you feel like the retention of Durkin is making this easier or tougher? I know that's a tough question.
I don't think it has an impact.
I don't think it has any impact.
I mean, it might for certain candidates, but I think for most, I don't think so. I don't know why you wouldn't want Durkin.
The only thing I can think of is, and again, I'm not saying that like nobody wants his job. Okay. So Cohen's talked to a ton of folks, but I do wonder if there's that aspect of like, who's the chief? You know what I mean? Like whenever you come in, and if you're telling me I got to keep this guy to keep everybody, and then now he's the focal point of what's keeping everybody, it seems like it's a huge bonus to have DJ Durkin, but sometimes I wonder if it could work against you, and that is scary because I love DJ Durkin.
It could if you lose. I think it could if you lose. I mean, we kind of saw that with Caddy, right? Like to some extent, like Hugh had a rough start, and I mean, you're still hearing people say kind of like, we should have hired Caddy, we wouldn't be in the situation. Well, I think that opinion is ridiculous. It kind of proves your point, where it's like, okay, all these, these guys loved Caddy. Are all these guys going to love Durkin? I do think Durkin is going to be fully behind whoever is brought in, assuming it's not him. And so, like, is that dynamic?
Me too, but I wonder how.
I don't know.
Me too, but I wonder how hard that is to convince somebody that he's behind it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like that he's okay with, because they know he wants the head coaching job too. But so, like, how hard is it to convince somebody to keep him and that he's cool with it? You know what I mean? It's just it's right. Crazy dynamic.
It is a crazy dynamic. It's been a crazy coaching search, and I mean, a little lackluster, to be honest. Not a bad. The search doesn't matter. It's who you get. The end product is all that matters. But the search itself, it's felt different than the previous two, like post Malzahn, where we eventually got Harsin, and then post Harsin when we eventually got Freeze. Which those both felt different in their own rights, and this one seems very different than those two. So, is that good or bad?
We can't hire anybody now. Okay, so like the way this thing typically works is the real name will start leaking either right close to the Iron Bowl or like a couple of days prior.
Do you think Sumrall is the real name?
Honestly, I have no idea. It doesn't. Now he could play he could go to the playoff. Then what do you do?
You can't hire him then.
You know what I mean?
Unless he's fine just being like the Auburn head coach, but just like being with his team for another few weeks. But I don't know if I want that.
Or does he just leave? If he makes the playoff, would he just leave Tulane to take the Auburn?
You can't do that.
Yeah, I know.
You got Tulane to the post. You can't do that.
Yeah, I know.
Right? You can't.
But he very well could. He's going to play in the conference championship, I believe. That like because South Florida lost, I think that pretty much puts him in there, unless he loses one of the next two games.
Yeah.
Which that would in theory extend him out another week. So because he's going to play in the conference championship game. So now you can't hire him in theory right after the Iron Bowl. So it's just weird. It's just weird. It's weird rooting for guys to lose that you need to come to Auburn and win.
Right. It's an odd coaching search. This quarterback situation had a chance to be not weird, but it was kind of weird yesterday. That's next right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is the best place to wager on all of your sports action. Kyle, right now, if you're a new FanDuel customer, you can bet $5. If your first $5 bet hits, you get $300 to use in bonus bets throughout the app.
Can you bet on who's the starting quarterback on Saturday?
I looked, that line is not there.
It should be. That'd be a good bet. That'd be a good action.
Available. Sadly. Who would you bet on?
I think I wouldn't bet on it, period.
Yeah.
But it would get a lot of action.
See what the line would be for sure. All right. Right now, FanDuel's giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com and sign up today. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at KiaAutosportColumbus.com. If you're in the market in the Auburn, Opelika area, the Atlanta area, take the short drive over to Columbus, Georgia, over to Kia Autosport Columbus. You can also browse their full inventory online, KiaAutosportColumbus.com. When you talk to a sales associate, mention Locked On Auburn, you will save $500 off your first or any new Kia purchase. Also, tires for life with any new Kia purchase. They're going to load you up if you go buy a new Kia at KiaAutosportColumbus.com. My family's purchased a Kia Sorento. We love Kias in the Blackerby family. So head over to KiaAutosportColumbus.com or go see them in person right off of Whittlesey Boulevard in Columbus, Georgia. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. We got some quarterback answers yesterday. Kinda.
Yeah.
We got the first part of the question done, which we assumed, and that is Ashton Daniels is going to sit this weekend so he can redshirt and be back next year, which, big picture, is good for Auburn.
Not even in an emergency situation. He's out. He's not playing.
They're doing what's best for Ashton, which I think you could argue is what's best for Auburn. So that's great. That's great. Good for Ashton that he gets to extend his college career out another year. I hope he's here next year. Then he's like, okay, great. And I love how he was asked the question, like, have you decided what you're doing at quarterback? And he answered that. And then he's like, left it.
Yeah, he was like, sure,
okay, let it sit there.
Maybe they won't ask me.
Yeah, it's like, all right, we're done with that, right? Right?
Knock that one out of the park.
No, let's ask again. We're going to ask the same question again, but we will leave off the Ashton part. Do you know what you're doing at quarterback? Deuce and Jackson are both going to play. We met with them last night. The team's going to rally around them. Everybody's excited. All right. Then he's asked a follow-up question again. And I guess there was a miscommunication. Like, so since Deuce is starting, because he did say Deuce's name first, yada, yada, yada. He's like, no, Deuce isn't, like, we haven't made the decision who's starting, but they're both going to play. And Kyle, like, I'm just logistically thinking about this. And hearing that made me think it's Jackson. Like, we're going to put Jackson in as a backup quarterback to Deuce? Why is Jackson even playing in this game?
Well, I've had the conversation. I've had the argument back and forth about, does it make sense to play Jackson or does it make sense to play Deuce? So, like, I can understand some of the reasons to play Jackson.
Give me one.
Okay, I'll give you two. Okay, number one.
Let's do one at a time, though.
Okay, I'll give you one.
Give me one. Let me digest it. Then give me the other one.
What if you feel simply more confident you can put this game away early with Jackson than you do Deuce? You can get this game over with, and you can start getting people subbed out, and you just simply feel better for it with Jackson being that guy. I mean, that could be a case to start Jackson. Okay.
My response to that would be, we need to see if Deuce can do that. And if he can't, we need to have a conversation about it.
So the second question the second reason revolves around that. Okay. Do you get enough out of Deuce to know anything on Saturday other than you just put film on tape for other schools to come get him if they feel like they could take that and utilize it as their starting quarterback next year? Do you really learn anything about Mercer? I think either you said something about this or maybe it was with you and Brad or something. I can't remember exactly, but basically you said,
I talk a lot.
What's that?
I talk a lot.
No, you said something like,
what are you about to say?
You can't learn if he is the guy, but you can learn if he's not the guy.
I did say that. Yeah,
that was you,
what
I
was
believe.
about to say. Yeah.
I agree with that.
It felt good coming out. You know what I mean?
I don't think you can learn if he's the guy, but other people might be able to figure out if he's the guy. So he may not be the guy. He may not be the guy. You may not have enough information from the Mercer game, but some other team could. So
But with that logic, are we just not going to play backup quarterbacks anymore?
No, I mean, he could play in the second half, and then it's like, okay, well, he's a backup quarterback playing in the second half with the backups.
So if he's playing with the backups, that makes me so mad.
Well, that's typically how backup quarterbacks work, though.
But a lot of backup quarterbacks are set to just be backup quarterbacks. A lot of backup quarterbacks aren't set to be future faces of the program.
Well, again, it's backup. It's still as you get to before you become the future, you're still a backup. Like, I don't think it's very.
I just
do you have other? Do you have
like
other?
We see other programs throughout college football that use these opportunities to showcase their future.
Do they? So there's other. Is there examples where there is a better option available? And I'm not saying that Jackson is the better option. I'm saying in this scenario that we're talking through, we just talked about they may feel like Jackson's the better option to win. So Deuce is your second guy. Are there examples where they've sat a starter in a game with another game? Well, you can't really say that because
this is tricky. The situation is odd already. So, has this exact situation happened elsewhere? Probably. Is
there a situation where there's a guy that's ahead of another guy, and you sit the guy that's ahead and let the younger guy play with all the starters that the guy? But
that's not necessarily what's happening, though. Like, we're in a situation where, it's almost like if Ashton was hurt and was going to miss a game.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, do you pick the guy who has more experience or the guy who has more upside? The thing that makes this parallel tougher than it used to be is because most guys have portal quarterbacks now. And so, there's not a whole lot of examples of homegrown guys that are set to be the guy as a freshman.
Yeah.
The closest example I can think of is Arch recently. That's the closest, and it's not a good parallel, but it's the closest one I can think of right now.
Did Arch ever start a game that Quinn Ewers could have started?
I think Quinn got hurt. That's kind of why I'm
Correct.
saying it's a similar thing where he missed a short period of time.
But I think Arch was the backup. There wasn't anybody in between.
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm coming from. It's like,
I would bet though that there was a guy on the roster that had more experience than Arch. I'm just guessing. That's just an assumption.
Maybe so. I'm just saying, I personally would play. I think I would probably play Deuce personally. I think that's what I would do.
I would too.
But I think I understand some of the arguments. Here's another thing. Hugh's gone, so there's no real allegiance. Durkin has shown no allegiance to anyone.
That's a good point.
If he were to choose Jackson, I think it would be that he feels like Jackson gives him the best chance to put this thing away and get out of there and not have some kind of embarrassment. That's kind of, I don't feel like he is beholden to anyone, and he proved that on his very first game.
Yeah. So to make the parallel consistent, we need to find an example of a third string quarterback going.
No, I don't necessarily think that. I think you need to find an example of an able guy that is supplanted for one game with a quote unquote future quarterback, and they just basically gave him the day off. But
that's not You're referring to the abled guy that's sitting is Ashton, correct?
No, I guess I would be in this scenario. It would be Jackson,
right? Who's not the starter, which makes this so strange.
It does. I mean,
like I'm fairly confident there's not another example of that.
Yeah, you're probably right. It would have to be, you'd have to be looking at a starter that was sat to let a younger guy play with the starters and basically just gave him the day off.
Or just couldn't play like that. That's why I'm like, that just doesn't happen. Like, this is such a weird situation where it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So then I'm thinking, okay, who's recently been a starter, who's missed a few games, like Austin Simmons last year at Ole Miss, but I think Dart just got hurt and he came in against Georgia, right? Like, I don't think he didn't start any game. I don't think.
Exactly. DJ Lagway.
That's why Arch is the only thing I can really think of.
DJ Lagway played. He started a game when their guy went down, but he was the backup. Like, he was the number 2. Like, he was playing all year.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's why this is just an odd situation. It's kind of a unique situation. Yeah.
All right. Anything else of note from DJ Durkin? We actually hinted at it a second ago, and I want to jump more into that in a second. That's next, right here on Locked On Auburn. We made the joke a second ago about how uneventful, boring, a little bit of a snoozer DJ Durkin's presser was. After we kind of got the quarterback answers after asking him 3 times. Then it's like, okay, that was kind of it. Outside of, I think it was JG that asked him about, like, are you talking to Durkin? Like, is that interview process going on? And he said, like, I feel like every day is an interview, which is a great way to answer that question. But everything after that, man, like, which isn't a bad thing. I think my takeaway from that is I'm a little refreshed by it. Instead of just like, I mean, think about I think it was the last question, like maybe the 4th week of the season, where Hugh just starts spouting out stuff about how, like, some of his players have hearing problems. Like, it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice in a refreshing way to have a coach in the interim form. And, we'll see what happens with, if he's picked or not. But I don't know. I was kind of refreshed by how uneventful it was after that.
It'll be fine unless he gives up like 28 points this weekend. And if he has a similar snoozer press conference leading up to the Iron Bowl, everybody will hate the snoozer press conference. Oh, he doesn't say anything. It's the same thing that's the way it'll be, I think.
Yeah. Let's go back to the guy's just stream of consciousness for everything. Even if he shouldn't be.
No, I'm joking. It will be like that though. We're not going to be happy. I think we're going to be fine until, like, it starts to become a pattern of losing versus success.
I went live right after and somebody commented, like, make press conferences boring again.
That's good. Yeah, I was like on pins and needles waiting for the quarterback question, and then I just felt like there was not going to be much of note after that. That's going to be
yeah, and of course he had to be asked the question about, like, your candidacy for the head coaching job, but of course there was going to be nothing there. Like, yeah, I'm doing everything I can for this program. That's what I'm focused on. Like, that's the truth. It's the boring answer, but it's the truth. So yeah, I don't really know what else we want. And it's also Mercer, right? And I do love how much credit and praise and props he gave Mercer.
Boy, he knows all their stats. All their stats. He started off with just so much. Apparently their defensive coordinator played for him at Bowling Green. How about that?
Yeah, how about that?
And they lead the nation in sacks, which is
and points.
Points. That kind of perked my ear up a little bit.
Oh, okay.
And he didn't clarify.
What could go wrong?
Is it the whole nation or the nation in that division?
I'm sure it's the nation in that division.
It's got to be.
But he's giving them props, which I think is good. I think it's good. I don't think you can take them lightly.
No, you need to put them away. Put them away quickly. That's what I mean. Don't let some team like that hang around.
Like in the trenches, you're going to be able to dominate them.
Should be able to. They give up a bunch of points too, so you should be able to score on them. I think you should be able to score with any quarterback. So
which quarterback do you think would score the most?
I think it'd be pretty even, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, I think it would. I think you could probably do the same thing with either one. That's just my opinion, not being there and not knowing all the schematics. I think we'll learn more. I think we'll know, like today when you're listening to this, though we have access to practice. I think we'll be able to tell who they're going to go with.
Yeah, and I'm trying not to be dramatic, but like if they go with Jackson, is that an indictment on Deuce? Like, is he just not ready? Is it the social media stuff from earlier in the year that like this coaching staff's just not like, do they not trust him? Like, I don't know.
I think it's a clean slate. I think it was a clean slate from prior to now, and there's no allegiances. And I think Durkin's just trying to get a win, just try to put this thing away. We're honoring the Ashton deal. We're going to try to get out of this thing with a win and get ready for Alabama. I think it's that simple.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below, or if you're listening on socials, let us know. Hit us up. Kyle, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
Absolutely. Go to the Barn Auburn on YouTube. You can catch all our different shows and our different membership levels that we have there, as well as the Barn Podcast Network, anywhere you get a podcast.
Please like the video. Please subscribe, and we'll see you next time. This has been Locked on Auburn.